Day one of free agency, already chaos going on around the NFL. We are back on the Papa Show Knows podcast. I appreciate you for tuning in. And if you're watching on YouTube, how about this setup? You know, change everything up. Had the green screen going for a while. It's gonna save me some time in editing. I'm very excited about that. And just kind of giving a different, vibe to the YouTube. Being more of you get to see myself. So if you want to watch this ugly mug while we talk about some Chiefs football, go right on ahead, smash that like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. Get that out of the way. But again, getting right into it. First day, free agency has been wild already, and I don't know how deep we're gonna get into too much other than obviously some Chiefs related stuff, but getting straight into it, Chris Jones breaks the bank. How about it? Chris Jones gets this deal done. Very exciting times for the Chiefs. And just looking at the deal, 2024, I mean, that's a big, the cap number being 7.3, that's huge. These first, or at least the first year, the cap hit is going to go up to 34.8, 41.1, 34.3, and then to round out a 41.1 cap hit. So this meaning that this first year on the deal gives the Chiefs wide open availability. Obviously trying to figure out if they can restructure L'Jarius Sneed. We talked about that on the last podcast with Sneed being tagged, MVS being cut, obviously. So right now, getting Jones' deal done, I think that was number one, and I think it's the right move. The more that I thought about it, I really thought that Sneed was probably, number one. But when you really think about it, especially with the what the Chiefs have at cornerback, having Trent McDuffie and Chris Jones, I mean, he's just irreplaceable on that defensive line. And I'm not 100% sure who it was that tweeted it, but I did see. Somebody had tweeted out, but one Chris Jones can take away every receiver. L'Jarius Sneed can take away one. But with that pass rush, you got Chris Jones, he can take away everybody. And I think that was a great way to put it. And again, another tweet that I saw was that Chris Jones, you don't need him to be on point, the entire season. What you need for him to be is disruptive and destructive in the postseason. Once the real season starts for the Chiefs is what the tweet said. So, and I agree. I mean, you're going for a 3-peat, go all in for it. I mean, you're trying to make history. And that's something I think I kind of reiterated on the last podcast. If you check that out last week. Yeah, it's been about a week and a half now. I don't know. A lot going on here, but also getting Drue Tranquill's deal done. That was huge for the Chiefs, I think. His cap hit will be $3 million this year. It'll go up to 8.5 for 2025 and 7.5 in 2026, with no guarantees on that final year in 2026. So also with Chris Jones kind of looking at it out in 2026 as well. So we'll see kind of where that leads them, if there's a restructure at that point, or what we'll see out of that. But huge deals to get done, and I think huge for the defense. I mean, Drue Tranquill obviously showed how valuable he is last year for the Chiefs, stepping in for Nick Bolton. I've talked about Drue Tranquill plenty of times on this podcast in the last year, and I thought it was a great signing the moment that the Chiefs got him, and it ended up being better than I think I even thought it would have been, getting essentially a backup, And Drue Tranquill's worked his way right into it. Obviously, you're going to lose Willie Gay in free agency. And, he already had tweeted that out, too, I think, after the Dolphins game, saying that was his last game at Arrowhead, which, it happens. It's going to happen, and it's just part of the game. It's the nature of the business, right? So the Chiefs do bring back Drue Tranquill, Chris Jones, getting everything done. Obviously, we're not going to see Chris Jones in a booth on Thursday night football to open up the year. This season, we are going to see Chris Jones on the field, and that's exciting for the Chiefs. Maybe not exciting for the rest of the NFL, but, Obviously, the Jerry Sneed trade rumors. I've seen the Vikings. I've seen Detroit. I feel like I've seen a couple other ones. I've kind of been playing around with it, planning to put up a first mock draft soon and kind of go through that, kind of like I did last year. Yeah, I just honestly, I have not taken a ton of time to dig in. I've done a couple of them just to kind of get myself familiar with some names and stuff, and watched a little bit of the combine and tried to kind of get an idea. But I haven't kept up a ton with the draft cycle this year, so working on that to put out more content surrounding the draft, and we're gonna get into some situations with the Chiefs, and I've already been kind of playing around, tinkering with a possible trade of L'Jarius Sneed, kind of move up in the draft, kind of see where we want to land. Anyways, enough of that. Um, like I said, most of the stuff that we're gonna go over, like everything's moving so fast, right? Russ is a Pittsburgh Steeler. T. Higgins has requested a trade after he got tagged already, which is big news. And I saw Jamar Chase had tweeted something out, about, I think he said, what did he say? I know you're lying. And so we'll see. I don't know. I don't know if Jamar Chase really operates in reality too much. So I mean, I think a lot of people kind of saw that coming. It's going to be somewhat like the Snead deal probably, unless the Chiefs can figure out a way to get a deal done with Snead, and we'll go more into that. I'm trying to think off the top of my head of the other corner that got signed. The money was right on, almost on line with the tag. Maybe it was around the 15, maybe a little bit less. Like I said, I can't think off the top of my head what it was, so I'll have to look into that again. The Raiders, Christian Wilkins, excuse me, 4 years, $110 million with the deal guaranteeing 84.75. His deal right there on par with Chris Jones as well, because I can't remember what the totals were, and I clipped that part off on my screenshot here. But either way, pretty close. So the Chiefs are not under the cap right now. I think they're about $5 million over, and so that's another part on over the cap. I was kind of playing around with some trades just to kind of see where moving Snead would kind of put them at when it comes to what their cap situation will be. But I think the Chiefs are in a really good spot just in general for the upcoming draft. Just to kind of see where, they could pull off to either move Snead to move up, or what they could kind of do. And the place that they're drafting, I'm just not sure if there's going to be, anything that's needed right then and there. We'll see how it shapes out. And obviously with the combine, everyone kind of moving around. I actually got my first mock draft where Drake May was taken first overall by the Bears, which kind of shocked me. But we got down to that 32, right around in there, and Lad McConkey was there. And this one that I'm looking at right now that I kind of played around with the trade, traded Snead and a couple of picks, swap for the 7th round to move up a few picks, and also gave up the 95th overall pick with Snead for the Lions pick at 29. Ended up trading that to the Patriots to trade down to 34, where we took Lad McConkey for the 2nd round. Also traded away 32, got a few more picks, really just more and more picks in that one. But not to get too much into that mock draft, but again, the Chiefs just have a lot of, where do you want to go? I think a receiver you have to have in the draft. Maybe get some help. Maybe find a corner at some point. A running back wouldn't be that bad of an idea, because right now, kind of what are the Chiefs going to do at running back? Are they going to be able to bring anybody back? As in, Jet McKinnon or Clyde Edwards-Helaire. We'll see. We'll see with Patrick Mahomes' deal if they're going to move some money around on that. Will be interesting to see, because just to kind of give them a little bit more of a buffer. But I mean, if you're going to give up Snead, you're going to, from the deal that I made, you were making up $15 million. So that would put the Chiefs right at about $10 million in cap space to play around with this year. I feel like you obviously have to get a tackle. I think in that one I got a couple of tackles. because you got to be thinking about, who's going to be playing that left side. Right now, there's nobody for the Chiefs. Are you going to bring back Donovan Smith? I don't know how likely that is to bring him back. He didn't have a great year. Wasn't absolutely terrible. Wanye Morris, I'm looking to dive into some film, just kind of look at what he did throughout the end of the year. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see where the Chiefs are going to go with, especially tackle. Because tackle's one that, without money or being able to throw a lot of money at it, it's going to be hard to figure out where exactly the Chiefs are going to go, because they're not in a spot where you can draft a guy that's going to be obviously like a cornerstone for you. Although the Chiefs have drafted linemen very well. I think Trey Smith was a fourth rounder for Creed Humphrey. How much longer does Tooney have? That's another question I have. At right tackle, obviously Jawan Taylor is the guy. He's going to be the guy for a few years, and actually, that wouldn't be a bad one to look up. Just kind of see his deal. Because I know he's it's decent money. Decent money Chiefs are giving Jawan Taylor. If I could get over the cap to work right now, we'll see. I don't know. It's not one to pull up for me. So but the offensive line is one. Defensive line, I think you can get help in free agency that or in the draft on the defensive line. So I don't have a ton of concerns with the defensive line as much as I do the offensive line, I think, just because there is a need at left tackle. I mean, unless they feel like Wanye Morris could definitely be the guy. And like I said, I want to dive into film, just kind of see, let's see what's it look like on film. So shout out to Over the Cap, but I do not think it is working the best right now. I kind of wanted to try to get this Jawan Taylor deal pulled up. The only thing I can get pulled up is the Chiefs roster right now, and kind of where everybody's at. Jawan Taylor would be 24.725 against the cap next year. So, I mean, let's see if we can go on to, 2025, same in 2025, same in 26. That cap number stays the same. And the only two Chiefs on the roster for 2027 currently is Patrick Mahomes and Chris Jones. Patrick Mahomes is a $58.6 million cap hit this year. So if they were able to do something on that. Joe Tooney's also right there, right under $27 million. Snead is the next closest. Kelsey, Reed, Omenihu after that. And then get down to Chris Jones at 7.3. I think the fact that they got, it's structured like that for Chris Jones to have, such a small cap hit this year is perfect. And it just shows, I mean, the Chiefs are going all in for this three-peat, and it's exciting to see. So we'll see kind of where the chips will fall here over the next couple of weeks in general, just to kind of see where the Chiefs are going to try to get headed, what they're going to try to do with the cap. But we'll see. I think at this point, it makes me think that a trade could be inevitable with Snead, unless they do get something done where a similar, contract where they kind of structure it out where Snead will take a low cap hit year one and kind of let that money unfold over the next few years. It just depends on kind of where Snead and his agents are. And honestly, I haven't heard much or seen much, I don't think, out of that, other than, he's kind of shopping around for his next team possibly. That being said, I mean, I think that's pretty much it for the Chiefs right now. Like I said, we're going to jump into some more mock drafts, just kind of go down a list as I've got the page, the homepage for Over the Cap pulled up. Baker Mayfield, shout out to Baker getting paid 3 years, $100 million, $40 million guaranteed by the Bucks. Got the deal done, and interesting is all I'll say. I mean, I don't know how far the Bucks will be able to go with Baker Mayfield, but they believe in him, and Mike Evans believes in him too. And so, that's a big big first step, I guess, to see where, maybe that roster could go with Baker Mayfield at the helm. Other than that, obviously, so divisional news, Jerry Jeudy getting traded to Cleveland. And I think it was for a 5th and a 6th rounder. So not much that the Broncos really recoup out of Jeudy. And they're kind of very obviously headed into a full-on rebuild. And not to mention, they are going to be in cap hell with that Russell Wilson deal. So I don't think any of the details have come out of Russ's deal in Pittsburgh yet. I don't think it's official. And going back to kind of Snead right now, just because I did see it pop up, I don't think it's going to let me go to it. I'm sure the traffic on Over the Cap right now is just insane here this first day of free agency. Bears signed Jalen Johnson, though, 4 years, $76 million contract. That was the one I was referring to earlier. And like I said, it is not a good day for Over the Cap. So we'll get more into that probably on the next podcast. But I just wanted to get back on here and give a little bit of a breakdown of what's been going on so far. One I wanted to mention was Mitch Morse. He went ahead and signed with the Jaguars. 2 years, $10.5 million, 7 of it guaranteed. And shout out Mitch Morse. He was a draft pick of Andy Reid here in Kansas City, then went to Buffalo for all those years. I don't know how many years exactly he spent in Buffalo, but he's had a really good career from the University of Missouri. And that was a shocker. Obviously the Bills cutting all of the guys that they did. Micah Hyde. I think Micah Hyde was Poyer got let go. Tre'Davious White. Definitely a, unloading in Buffalo. Restructuring Von Miller's deal. And here we have this Jalen Johnson deal finally popped up for me. So I'll just go straight from the article. The Bears and Jalen Johnson, their franchise player, finalized contract that would make Johnson one of the top 10 compensated corners in the NFL. The contract, which is an average of $19 million a season, carries a guarantee of $54 million, of which $43.8 million is fully guaranteed at the signing. That was reported by Jordan Schultz of Bleacher Report. So right there, $19 million a season. I mean, that's what Snead's sitting on right now with the tag. So I don't know if you find a way to figure out how to make that cheaper on you or how they go about trying to get a deal done and stay under the cap. Because right now, looking at the cap, I mean, really the only thing you can do is trade Snead. And trading Snead is what's going to open up that cap space for the Chiefs to, maybe do something. They're at, I want to say it was 59 players when I looked right now that they've got rostered, which obviously more than you're going to need to field a opening day roster, but not the pieces that you need either. So definitely going to have to go in and find some guys. Obviously the draft is going to help with that and see what they can go with. But again, appreciate if you tuned into this one. Wherever you listen, Spotify, Apple Podcast, or YouTube, I would advise you to go check out on YouTube again the setup. We finally got it done. Very happy with it. So let me know in the comments what you think of the new setup, what you think about the Chiefs, and where this offseason is headed toward. And until next time. We'll see you next time. Go Chiefs.